And he said Trump has done more for African Americans than any other president. Opportunity zones, I did that with him. Funding for the black colleges and universities, they had no funds. They would come to the, I'll never forget it. The heads of the black colleges, universities, they would come in and they'd see me every year. I say, after 2 years, I said, what are you doing? They said, for many years, we come in and see the president and we have to beg. He used that term, a great guy. A lot of really good people, work hard. They came in and they need funds to keep their schools going. And then you have Harvard, you have all these other places with billions and billions of dollars, and they still get funds, which is pretty stupid, right? But they'd come in and they'd see me and they'd say, we need help. And after the third year, I said, what are you doing this for? And I got them long-term financing, more money than they asked for. And Tim Scott was relating that story today, and many other things, by the way. But you ought to look at opportunity zones. There's never been an economic development program, I think, that for Black Americans and Hispanic Americans, there's never been an economic program like that, opportunity zones. And nobody likes to talk about it, but it's one of the most successful economic development programs. And just to finish that off, I also happened to do a thing called criminal justice reform that Joe Biden didn't want, and a lot of people didn't want it, and a lot of liberal people and some conservatives, interesting, had a lot of conservative support and a lot of liberal support. Not a lot of support in the middle, but we got that done. So between those 3 or 4 things, nobody's ever done what I've done for the black community. And Tim, I appreciate Tim saying it this morning on one of the fake shows. Before I even arrive at the Oval Office, shortly after we win the presidency, I will have the horrible war between Russia and Ukraine settled. I'll get it done fast. I know about it. And we will restore on this planet peace through earth. I am the only candidate who can make this promise to you. I will prevent World War III, and we're very close to World War III. We're very close to World War III. And on day one, I will end crooked Joe Biden's insane electric vehicle mandate. They weren't working too well in Iowa. It was 40 degrees below zero, and you get into an electric car and you hear a buzzing. I said, what's that, sir? It works in zero, but you start getting below zero, and you had those cars all over the place. It'd be a good time to take one. You could have taken one. You could have had all you wanted. But it wasn't. They were not working too well in Iowa. Think of that. We voted on a day where it was 40 below zero, and we had a tremendous vote. It was like, those people are hardy people. Somebody said they're very hardy. The people of Iowa are very hardy indeed. They voted in record numbers, and I will end his American energy war. It's a war on American energy. It's a war. Just yesterday, Biden blocked the export of American natural gas to other countries. You know, he doesn't want plants built in the United States, even though that's the best thing you could do. This stuff has been worked on for years. I approved many of them. We got many built in Louisiana and other places, but he stopped it. Now, why he stopped it, I guess it was the environmentalists, but it's good for the environment, not bad, and good for our country. I will approve the export terminals on my very first day back. I'm going to be signing so many different mandates on my first day back. All of that stuff will be approved. I will direct a completely overhauled DOJ to investigate every radical, out-of-control prosecutor in America for their illegal, racist, in reverse enforcement of the law. And I'm also going to indemnify all police officers and law enforcement officials throughout the United States to protect them from being destroyed by the radical left for taking strong action on crime. We don't want crime. These cities are crazy what's going on. Hundreds of people yesterday walked into a department store and just walked out with everything. They emptied the store. Now the store is going to close. 5 years ago, they were all pushing for this store to open. They opened. Now people are just walking in and robbing it. You can solve that in 1 hour. All you do is 1 hour. You have to treat the first one out the door, and the next time it happens, extremely tough. That means anything you want to do. And as soon as that word gets out and you let people know, from now on, you don't walk out with aspirin. You know, I have a building on 40 Wall Street, and we lost a big company, the big drug company where they sell drugs, drugstore. And I called the people. I said, "What happened?" He said, "The people steal everything off the shelves. We have to build glass. They built glass containers on the shelves. They're still. This is not just New York. All over the place. It's like a new form of crime. They walk in. They just take a bag. In some of these places, they don't prosecute you unless it's more than $2,000. In other words, you can take $2,000. Anything more than that, but even that they won't do anything. Guys walk in with bags. They go like this. They push everything into the bag and they walk out the store. And they actually had an employee that got into a fight with one of these guys, and the company fired the employee for doing that. What is wrong with our country? What's wrong with our patriotism? We're going to rebuild our cities into beacons of hope, safety, and beauty better than they've ever been before. And we will help them in crime because we're not going to let them be crime-ridden monsters. And we will take over our horribly run capital of our nation in Washington, D.C., and clean it up, renovate it, rebuild our capital so that it's no longer a nightmare of murder and crime, but rather it will become the most beautiful capital anywhere in the world, which it was once before. You know, we didn't have the problem with